CM12, the Aries Cup, is right around the corner, and after that slog that was building for our latest long, our dirt, and our sprint themes, I'm just kind of happy that we have something nice and easy coming up. Given that it is a 2000 meter medium track, there'll be lots of viable strategies and movements to try. So this video is going to be split into 3 parts. First, I'm going to be showing you the track conditions and recommending stat lines. Next will be a loose tier of Umas to help you decide who you want to bring. And after that will be some general skills and other things applicable to your running styles. So without any more stalling, let's jump right into the video. The track is Nakayama Turf and is going to be 2000 meters long in the right hand inner track. It is going to be on firm ground in sunny weather in the springtime. And the Excel zone is going to be right in the center of the third corner, as you can see there. As per usual, you'll want your speed, power, and width as high as possible. Your power should usually be over 100 regardless of what deck you use, but your width will be significantly lower if you run the Guts deck instead, and the real nuance comes with your stamina. For the speed, power, width deck, given a low estimate of 800 wit and 500 guts, to get a consistent survival rate, you want around 700 stamina. Not too hard, considering clicking power also boosts your stam. Additionally, having higher wit is good on this track because of the long downhill, so being at higher wit levels just decreases the amount of stamina you need. But throw in 2 gold debuff skills and you will drop to around a 70% chance of surviving with this stat line, so more is obviously better. Or of course you can maybe just get a white recovery skill to round that out. For the guts build, assuming you have around 1100 guts and 600 wits, you will also want 600 stamina to survive this track. But of course, you can definitely get more wits if you run a bit of a guts wit deck, so you will need a bit less stamina in that case. Both builds can be supplemented with some white recovery skills, of course, to give you some wiggle room, especially in the case of debuffers, in the case of rushed. So plan accordingly when picking your skills. I do recommend using Umulator, just so that you can see before you pick your skills if you'll be at the right stamina that you want. And as always, frontrunners will want about 100 more stamina than the other styles because of spot struggle. I put a tier list up on screen for you guys. Keep in mind that it's just a bit of a generalization. You can win with most of the Umas above D tier without too much trouble. And so I put 2 fronts in S tier. Does that mean fronts are the best tier? Not quite, they're just a bit more consistent. A solid frontrunner that hits angling and scheming will be getting you pretty solid wins because of course you don't have to worry about being too far ahead, you only have to worry about being too far back. And a late surger is going to have to worry about being, of course, out of position too far up. But then again, your late surgers will still be good because the excels are good on this map, and you just have to be in position 5-6 to hit their Dorbers and Urian uniques, which can absolutely make them win even against good frontrunners. But it's just going to be a bit harder to be consistent with that just because of, RNG there. Pace chasers are also going to be kind of solid. Of course, still more gambly playstyle because you don't really have any excels, you have head on, and that's about all. But enclosers here, as you may see, I barely have any enclosers here. I have all the typical enclosers put into the late surge position, and that's just because straightaway spurt does not work on this map. Straightaway spurt will activate on the last straightaway in the final stretch, which does not really do anything if it activates there. And so I think that unless you have a lot of encloser skills that help you push up, you're a bit better off running a late surger just to get closer to that 5-6 position so you could hit that let's pump some iron so you could hit that moving past and beyond. I also have the Dominator Hybrid tier above B tier because it's just a really solid strategy. You build a normal ace and sacrifice a few skill points for Dominator. That way, even if you don't hit your excel, you can still support the team with a powerful debuff. And Dominator is just, in the late race, it'll slow down all of the Umas ahead of you. Now, the Christmas Ogre discussion. She is going to be excellent here because 777s and U equals MA squared, which is the Agnes Tachyon unique, activate right before the Excel zone, letting her get some insane speed carryover into the late race. And you can run late or pace Ogre here, since late can take advantage of moving past the beyond and let's pump some iron unlike pace. But frankly, I just don't think it's really worth the trouble, because you lose access to both Hydrate and U equals MA squared, which means that you will need 2 mid-game recoveries and the 777s to activate your unique, which is just a lot of work or luck for just not that great of a reward, because your unique should give you enough carryover and excel anyway. and it lets you run a pretty safe build of you get hydrates plus 777s, and then you have a generic mid-game recovery, and U equals MA squared, and that means that you'll have your 2 mid-game recoveries, and then later in the race you'll have a buffer because you have 4 skills instead of 3 recovery skills, which means that you'll be more likely to hit your unique perfectly. Also, don't get Radiant Star unless you only have 1 mid-game recovery skill, because it does count as recovery for a unique, so it can proc too early and mess it up. So next up, skills. I want to start us off with the most important skills, the acceleration skills. So let's take a look at the course real quick so you can get an idea of how this works. The late race Excel zone is in the middle of the third corner. Yes, that is the third, not the second corner, because these count as 2 corners, not 1. It's not a big corner, it's 2 small corners. So that means final corner acceleration skills like shooting for victory and red shift will activate too late. This also means that straight skills like Victoria par plancha and straightaway spurt will not work either. So what are we left with? Well, everyone can use, of course, No Stopping Me and Nimble Navigator, as well as Ignited Spirit Power and Ignited Spirit Guts. Corner Connoisseur and a Corner Acceleration have about a 25% chance of actually hitting when you need them to, but if they do, they will probably win you the game, so it's high risk, high reward. Late Searchers have access to Slick Search and On Your Left, which are alright gambling style skills, but a more common option will just be inheriting Moving Past and Beyond, and or Let's Pump Some Iron, which will always be good accelerations at the perfect point if you fulfill their requirements and pass the wit check. Moving Past and Beyond requires to be in position 5 or 6, and not have been rushed the whole race, and Let's Pump Some Iron requires you to be in 6th place. I expect a lot of late searchers and end closers going to be fighting for that spot, so Nimble Navigator, Ignited Spirit Power, and On Your Left or Slick Surge are going to be kind of recommended as backup skills in case those fail. I recommend having your inherited unique excels and then having at least one of these backup sort of more gambly excels just in case that you're not in the right position at the right time, or maybe you failed a wit check or something else. Both MPB and Pump have a 0.2 excel when inherited and 0.4 when unique, so hitting both will be similar to just having one of the uniques on your Uma. So having both inherited and being in number 6 is kind of the same as running Mezure Ryan and having her unique just on her. Therefore, the Uma in 6th place will have a really solid shot at rocketing forward and winning even against very powerful frontrunners. Now, Pace Chasers. They really only have access to head-on unique to them, which is an alright but pretty gambly acceleration skill because it could activate anytime in that late race. And I think Daiwa Scarlet's unique has some potential as an inherit in this regard, but it requires you to be able to push up to 1st or 2nd place, which can be pretty difficult, especially if there's a lot of frontrunners. And of course, the gambling excel skills are generic ones. You can still go for Nimble Navigator, you can still go for Ignited Power, Ignited Guts. Frontrunners are the only other running style with a very consistent acceleration, and that is going to be angling and scheming. So fighting for the first position is going to be very important. Unrestrained activates too late, do not bother, and in order to get that first position, obviously you want your groundwork and early lead or taking the lead, and to get that too, I highly recommend getting Dodging Danger and either Prudent Positioning or Ignited Spirit Wits. Dodging Danger and one of those 2 other skills, because that will give you a lot of early game move speed very similar to Groundwork does. I will talk about green skills for a minute. A lot of you will probably be borrowing or using the Narita Top Road card for its speed output and the Firm Course Menace skill, which does work on this track. But be warned, at its base hint, I believe it'll cost about like 210 skill points. And is this worth it for 60 speed and 60 power? I'm leaning towards generally no. However, Narita Top Road herself can give you 3 hints or firm conditions, and you can get it through other ways such as inspirations or other cards' hints, which will greatly increase the value of the skill. Similarly, Sakura Chiyo no O has the Spring Spectacle skill in Nator, which does the same thing as Firm Course Menace for the same cost, 220 skill points, I believe, without a hint though. So I do recommend using your hint books on the Spring Runner skill if you plan on using Sakura Chiyo no, if you like her a lot and plan on using her more, because this Spring Runner skill will not be good for the rest of the year. This is the only spring for a while, obviously, because that's how seasons work. Get the hints if you want to use the skill, okay? Other green skills don't require much more explanation. Nakayama Race Course and Center Distance are alright to hit your stamp requirements. Sunny Day and Savvy skills are best used only as a groundwork proc. Competitive Spirit may be used on late surgers and frontrunners, which I suspect will be the most popular styles, especially if you're running 2 of each or double upping on one of those classes. And Lone Wolf Umas are not very popular here, so I believe that is also going to be a pretty decent skill if you manage to get a hint for it somehow. Lastly are the Velocity skills, but honestly there's not much to say in this section, just get as many as you can. Mid-game speed skills will help your Uma push up and get in position for late race, and late race speed skills will help them fight for the finish line. Frontrunners especially need mid-game skills to steal that angling and scheming proc. I'll put a few that you could look out for on every running style on screen now. And one more thing, I mentioned Dominator as a good debuff skill, but what about All Seeing Eyes and Murmur, the stamina debuff skills? Well, in my opinion, I really don't think you should buy those on an ace. The stamina requirement is too easy to make for these skills to actually do something most of the time. I think it's generally a waste of skill points, because a lot of players are actually going to be over-stamming just by clicking power with their power cards, or they're going to get excess stamina and they're going to have max guts and it's not going to do anything to them. So I just don't think you should bother with these unless you're running double debuffers, like you have a Doper and a Nice Nature and you want to run 3 of these, then maybe go ahead, you could do something there. But that is pretty expensive. Now, we're almost done here, so I'm going to flash a few of my own builds and it was on the screen real quick, just for inspiration for a few of you guys. These are by no means perfect, but you could use them just as a jumping point for your own builds. And while you're looking at those, I just want to say thank you to everybody for 300 subscribers. It's actually the first milestone that I've actually really hit. And this channel kind of started as more of a like a small thing to share like Pokemon videos with my friends. And I've been having lots of more fun making these Musume strategy videos and thinking about the game in a critical way and talking with you guys in the comments about it. So now that we've got through the CM, that's about it. See ya.